Hello guys, welcome to Cisco with Aman Soni, and in this video we are going to learn how to take backup and restore the config of your Cisco router. In the last video we have learned how to reset the password on a Cisco router. Hope you practiced it well and masters the technique of resetting the passwords. If somehow you forget them, or if your friends by mistake reset them, or some scenario like that, in this video, we will learn how to restore and backup of the config. These are the steps that we are going to perform. We are first going to configure a Cisco router. Then we are going to connect it to the TFTP server and we will check the connectivity with ping. And we are going to do the practical in the Cisco packet tracer. And then we are going to save the config on the TFTP server that we connected with the router. Then we will take a blank router and we will connect it to the TFTP server and we will check the connectivity. And the config that we copied previously on the TFTP server, we will restore it onto a blank router and see the new router already configured as soon as the configuration is copied. So without further delay, let's hop onto the packet tracer. Let's take a generic series router. First, let's configure it with basic things that we already know, like the usernames, host names, passwords, secret passwords, console passwords, IP address, and all. So let's begin with the configuration. Config T. Host name. Let's change the host name. Let's change it to my router. Now some passwords. Enable secret. Cisco 1234. Then the line console password. Password. Let's put the password QWERTY and login so that it will work. Because login means when somebody comes to line console 0, ask the line console 0 password. Interface F00 and assign some random IP to the interface F00. IP address 192.168.1.1 255.255.255.0. No shut. Exit it down and let's also create a loopback interface. If you don't know what is a loopback interface, it is just a virtual interface that you create on your router for testing and communication purposes. Interface loopback question mark. Theoretically, if you want, you can create this many loopbacks. I don't think you will be creating that much, but you can give any number in between this range. So you can create interface loopback 0, or you can create interface loopback 7869, like that. For simplicity, let's create interface loopback 0, our very first virtual loopback interface on the Cisco router. And as you can see, as you can created the interface, the status and the protocol both are up. No need to do the no shutdown on the interface loopback, because as soon as you create the interface loopback, it is automatically up and running. So you just have to assign the IP address. Let's take 192.168.2.1 255.255.255.0. And guys, we can't do 1.2 like this, because if you do, let me show what happens. The router will throw an error message. Why? Because the network 192.168.1 is already assigned to the interface F00. Look at the network ID. Although the IP address is different, but you cannot do that on a Cisco router. All the interface of a Cisco router have to be of different network. You can't give the same network on the Cisco router interface. And so let's give the IP address with some different network. 192.168.1. Not 1, let's say 2.1. No error message, successfully done. And no need to do no shut. Why? Because when you created the loopback, it was already up and running. Just exit out. Exit out the config mode show IP interface brief. This is our real interface F00, and this is the loopback virtual interface that we created on the router with a different network ID. Look at all these interfaces. Doesn't matter if it is loopback, fast Ethernet, serial Ethernet, or gigabit. Doesn't matter. If it is on the same router, the network have to be different. It cannot be same. Now we are done with the configuration, and let us save the configuration first on the router. How? Not onto the config D, copy, run, start. This is the command to save the configuration. Let's save the configuration. You are done. Now guys, what happens if this router somehow got damaged? And imagine you have quite big of a configuration on this router. Hours and hours of the configuration gone to waste. You can't do that. You can't tolerate that because the configuration is important. Or imagine a scenario if you have a very big configuration on this router and there is a new blank router and you need the same exact configuration on that router. You might think, okay, I have to do that again and again. No, you can take advantage of backup and restore mechanism provided by Cisco. You can take a TFTP server and you can take backup of this configuration on that TFTP server. So even if this router get damaged or you have a new router, you can restore the configuration back intact with no worries at all. So for the purpose, we need a TFTP server. Let's go to N devices. And the third one, this is the server, guys. Let's put it here. Let's take the cable and connect it. This is just a PC or laptop in real world with the TFTP software installed in it. In Packet Tracer, this is a server which will provide you a lot of services. For the particular scenario, we are going to use TFTP service. Let's put it aside and look, as soon as you click on TFTP, these are the files already saved on TFTP server. We want our config file also to be saved here just in case something goes bad. So first of all, the very first step, we have to make them communicate. On our interface F00, we already assign an IP address 192.168.1.1. This was the IP address with this subnet mask we assigned. So we also need to assign an IP address to this TFTP server. Let's take 192.168.1.10. We need to assign this IP to the interface and make them communicate first. Let's go to the server, desktop, IP configuration, and assign the IP address so that we can firstly make these two communicate. Let's click on the command prompt and ping to our router 192.168.1.1, and now they are pinging successfully. So we have done a few steps, which are these. We connected the router, configured the router, and make them ping. Now we just need to save the config on the TFTP server. For that, the command is, guys, you already know. It is copy command. Then you have to give the source, and then you have to give the destination. You have already done this command when you want to save your config, but in this case, you are going to be doing something different. Let me show you. Copy space. What do you want to copy? We want to copy the running configuration. Okay, this is the running config, but our destination this time is not startup config, it is TFTP. Like this you will do, and as soon as you enter, it is going to ask you a few questions. The first question, address or name of the remote host, meaning the IP address of the remote TFTP server, which in this case is 192.168.1.10. Now, what is the destination file name you require? If you just press enter, it will save the file with this name, my router config. If you want, you can change it. You can say 26th July underscore config. A good way to save a config. See, as soon as you enter, the config is done. Why? Because you have connectivity with the TFTP server and you just save the config. Minimize it and go to the TFTP server. Open it again. Close it. Go to the services TFTP. And if you look closely, here you have your config, guys. In the real world, on your real software, your real TFTP software, you can just right click and open it with WordPad, and you can view the config itself, and you can even edit it if you want. Your config is successfully saved on the router. So let me also copy the command for you. These were the commands. We just copied the running config to the TFTP. What if, let's say, if you want to copy not the running config but the startup config, which is same right now because we saved it. You just have to replace this running config with startup config. You can copy your running config as well as your startup config to the TFTP server. Same way, same mechanism. Now to the last steps. Take a new blank router, connect it to the TFTP, check the ping so that we can restore the config on this new guy. Let's take a blank new generic router. This is our new guy. So you can't do this. You can't connect your TFTP server with two devices unless you use a Cisco switch. In this case, we can use either switch or you can just delete the port, just the link. Press delete, press it here. The link, the port is free, guys, and we can just connect it to the new device. So let's do that. It is connected now. As you can see, the link is down. Why? Because the IP is already on the TFTP server, but our router don't have an IP address. Let's go to the new blank router. Few things you have to do. You can say, why am I doing this? I just need to take a copy paste or just a restoration of the file. No, you can't do that unless the link is up and you can communicate. So let's make it communicate. Go to the config tree, go to the interface and assign the IPs. Now guys, pay attention. This IP can be same as before 1.1 because this is a new router, or you can just give any random IP you want. When you copy the config to the running configuration, it will automatically be changed. Let's turn the interface on. Interface is on, and as you can see, the link is up and running. Exit out, exit again, and ping from PC to the server. As you can see, you are pinging, the communication is done. Now just the reverse step you have to do, the same copy command, but this time you want to copy from TFTP and you want to copy to your running config. Now if you want, you can copy the configuration into the startup config as you desire. If you copy it in the running config, you can see the changes immediately. If you copy it to the startup config, then you might have to reload your router. Now press enter and again answer a few simple questions like address or name of the remote host, which in our case is 192.168.1.10, the TFTP server. Now, what is the source file name? Because the source file name is the name of the file that you saved. So just type it correctly as you did while pasting it. 26 July underscore config. So let's copy it. 26th July underscore config. Enter. The destination file name. Important point. Do not change it. If you change it, there's going to be error and the task going to be a failure. So don't do that. Just leave this step as it is. The destination file name have to be running config. Just press enter and it is done. And you can see the blank router, the just blank router with no config at all is now a complete replica of this router. All the IP addresses, all the passwords, all the loopbacks are same. If you don't believe me, let me show you on the new blank router. Show IP interface brief. See, loopback is there. Our old IP address automatically changes because previously we gave 1.6 but we copied a new running config so it became 1.1. Show running config. You can see your secret password. Scroll down. You can see your console password. Just now you restored the config to a brand new blank router and saved a lot of time. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. In my next lecture I am going to show you something similar. We are going to take backup and restore, but of our whole iOS file, not just the config, the iOS file that is used to start your router. And then we will format the router and install a brand new iOS just like you do installation of Windows on a blank PC or blank laptop. So wait guys, till then hope you guys enjoyed the video and do practice the stuff. If you have any doubts, feel free to comment in below the video and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done yet. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a good night guys.